Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday Morning Live, and I always love the countdown, right? Gives us a few minutes for us to click in and really let you know that we are going live. I'm Mike. I'm with My Core Intentions and bringing you some great content again this morning. Glad that you're here. And if you are here by yourself, make sure you go tell somebody about the show. And I think this morning you're going to be really impressed. Again, a great Chicago-based entrepreneur, professional, Larry Kaufman. He's the regional marketing director with Jefferson Wells, a professional services firm. Larry's a global speaker and trainer for LinkedIn or on LinkedIn, and he's the best-selling author of the NCG Factor. But before I bring Larry on, what I want to do is just ask you what your intentions are. Did you get up this morning? Did you set your day? Did you plan your day? Did you strategically take a look at how you were going to work today? So I'm glad that you're here. Would like to remind you that My Core Intentions has a boot camp coming up in August. It's a property management boot camp, full day live virtual event. You can go to my website and find the information on that. And I certainly would love to see you there. Let me bring Larry in real quick. Hey, Larry, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you? Boy, it's been a while since you and I connected.
It has been a while. So thanks for having me. Great to see you. Sorry I'm so underdressed today. I apologize.
Yeah. You always showing me up, Larry. It's what I like. But hopefully you got your coffee, you buckle up and ready for the ride. So
I'm ready to go.
Okay, fantastic. Hey, Larry, I always start all my podcasts, all my shows one way. One word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
So I guess it's kind of like, if I'm going to answer that properly, it is one word, but maybe it's two words connected. So I like to call myself a life dash transformer.
Okay.
Does that work for you? Because it's kind of two words, but I hyphenate, put them together.
Yeah. So you kind of cheat is what you're saying.
Yeah. I work two words into one, right?
So explain that a little bit then.
So I would say on the personal side of people's lives and the professional, I like transforming people's lives through myself being an indispensable person to them. So I like to kind of move myself into their inner circle and be that go-to for anything professional, personal that they may need assistance on, a connection to, an introduction, help with. Maybe it's their charity. I help someone's child, believe it or not, try to get into medical school. Someone wanted to write a book and help make a connection so that they could write that book through someone I knew. And recently they passed away, but that was their legacy they left behind, and they were so proud of it. I've helped people connect to a loved one. So I'm also a matchmaker. So you see the personal side, the professional side. So I want to transform people's lives through the relationships, introductions that I make.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you and I actually originally met through a good friend of both of ours, Carl Moose. And he introduced me with that to you with that philosophy that you love to do that for people and that you're a connector and a relationship builder. And I think that you probably also know Chad Coe, right?
Well, Chad wrote the foreword of my book.
Yeah. So
I better know Chad.
So he's another one, and I just think that that's how we have to be in the world today is being able to connect like that. So how about and I just want to invite anybody who's listening in, if you have comments, thoughts, questions for Larry, throw them in the chat. We'll get those answered for you this morning. Also, good morning, Irene, and it's good to see you here and everybody else that's online too. So, Larry, would you give a little background on yourself?
Sure.
A little history and what you're doing today.
Wonderful. Well, I'll tell you a little business, a little, personal. So on the business side, I know you referenced that I was regional marketing director. I'm regional managing director. Believe me, I'm not a marketing person. So I just want to set that straight. So I run sales and operations for Jefferson Wells for the Midwest region, which is about 17 states, about 50 or so on my team. And we're part of Manpower Group, which is a $22 billion global workforce solutions company, puts out a lot of employment outlook data and information and so much more, putting people to work. And so that's my day job, which I love. And then also, as you mentioned, I wrote the book back in 2019, The NCG Factor. And then I've been training and speaking about LinkedIn and NCG globally, and for many years on LinkedIn, 14 now. On the personal side, so I've been in Chicago all my life, so which is a long time. Not as long as you, Mike, but we're close. So, but I've been married 33 years to my lovely wife, an inspiration for the book, and my two children, Matt and Nicole. And so that should sum up a little bit about me.
So when we first met, I was introduced to you as, I was super impressed because of the amount of connections you had on LinkedIn and how you use LinkedIn as a resource and a tool for, doing what you do professionally. Why don't you talk about that a little bit and talk about your book.
Oh, thank you very much. So LinkedIn it's been a life transformer for me. And so I would say LinkedIn, when I started speaking about LinkedIn 14 years ago, I kind of honed my expertise with LinkedIn to bring it to the masses. It's been really helpful, like you said. I mean, it's really been great to connect people to people, learn more about people, preparing for any kind of meeting or an interview, and just making great connections. I always tell people I've become a better connector and a giver through LinkedIn because I have 29,000 connections, and you just never know who you know sometimes. And it really helps to pull it all together. But it's been great to help people to secure jobs, to secure subject matter experts like yourself, and reminding yourself too about the people in your world that and then the people you want to know, changes in their career and professions. But LinkedIn's helped me getting the message out to companies to grow their business through LinkedIn, to help people. I've helped many through transition through LinkedIn and teaching them how to use it as a tool to secure a job. And so the book, actually, the NCG Factor, incorporates LinkedIn and aspects of LinkedIn. I didn't talk about pointing and clicking because LinkedIn becomes obsolete every probably 6 months. Like, so I'll go do a presentation and it's coming up, and the night before I do some double checking, like, oh my God, they just changed everything. So, which is good. And that allows me to keep coming back to companies and organizations to speak and train, because LinkedIn does change. It is technology. But the book, NCG, is networking, connecting, giving. So it's a formula for building life-changing relationships from college to retirement.
Mm.
And I think we've become much more empathetic, since the pandemic. But I really talk about networking in a different light, because you and I network. Carl, was a client, and we became friendly over the years. Great guy. I'm glad he put us together. That's true networking. That's relationship and connecting. But I think a lot of people network going to events and trying to offload their business cards, right? And
Yeah.
I think, the way I think of it is, if I meet, you or Carl at an event, I'm going to think about people at that event. Maybe I can connect you to once I get to know more about you. And so my book really is aligned with, building deeper relationships, thinking about the other person, and really not leading with yourself first, getting to know that other person first.
So, 29,000 connections on LinkedIn. Have you talked to every one of those people?
Every day. No, no, it's not how many connections you have. It's really how you use it. And because I've spoken, globally for, and all over the country for years, yeah, I've amassed a great network. Do I know every one of those folks? Of the 29,000, there's probably a couple thousand that say I know fairly well, right? And then another couple thousand, not too well, but well enough where I could reach out. And then beyond that, hey Mike, you were at my presentation 6 years ago. Oh, Larry, it was outstanding. Hey, I see that you know Carl Moose. Can you connect us? And so there are different ways to use it, even with people in the network that I don't know. And
Hmm.
so, I think it's really how you use it. It's not so much about, do you know everyone intimately? And I always tell people, Mike, you shouldn't necessarily have 29,000 like myself. 500 is your first milestone. So you could have 500 plus on your profile, but a baseline of 500 is a good start because they're the pathway to all the people that they know that you want to know. Like connecting to me, I'm the pathway to 29,000 people. You may want to know some of those people. And so it's really building a good foundation network. At our tenure, we should have at least 1,000 people we probably know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
It's a good target. Look, there's kids in college that I've mentored and coached that have 500 plus in college.
Yeah. Hey, so when we first met, I think I had 15 people on my LinkedIn platform,
I
and
thought it was
I was
17.
yeah, well, it could have been 17, right? But I was inspired by how you talked about this, right? And you spoke at one of my events, and you talked about it. And so I said, hey, I'm going to go out and build my LinkedIn platform. Today I'm about 8,900. And I don't know that I use it right. I know that I direct connect with people, and I try to have Zoom calls and meet with people and get to know people and try to see how I can help them. What can I do? I love to ask people, hey, what's a great lead for you, or how do I bring value to your world, your network? Um, which I learned years ago, right? I think that just goes to building relationship. But how about a couple of techniques about how to use LinkedIn? How do you use it uh, for your business advantage?
Well, if you in your world, right, you do a lot with real estate investors, it's really making sure that your first level connections are aligned with your business. I'm not saying that those are the only people. You want to have good connectors, right? Like Carl, myself, people that will open doors for you when you ask. And so you want to have alignment with some good connectors. If you're connected to a bunch of people that have 100 connections, that is not going to be a useful tool. But if you call on a lot of people who are, investors or work in private equity, and those are kind of your contact points, or attorneys, or, people in wealth management capacities, and that's the network that you want because they're the folks that know all the people you want to know, or they're the direct people you want to know that are actually potential clients. That's the foundation network because they also know like or similar people. In my world at Jefferson Wells, we like CFOs, we like tax leaders, we like internal audit leaders. And so that's a good foundation network. Me and all those on my team that work for me and with me have as their baseline network of connections. So those first level are the pathway to people you want to know. They're second degree to you. So if you build that good, strong foundation network, that's the way you can build your business to direct decision makers and that referral or trusted advisor network. I would also say it's not just about you for business, right? So I always think about, so Mike, when I'm meeting with you, I'm not thinking about getting your business. I'm thinking first about you personally, then professionally, how I can leverage that LinkedIn network to help you get to a potential client or trusted advisor, or help someone in your family. And that's the way I think. And then also, people don't think about this. LinkedIn is a great dispute resolution tool. Now,
Huh.
are you wondering what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay. Do you have a cable company? You don't have to say the name of the cable company. Do you have one?
I do.
Do you
Do
love
I
them that there's never a billing issue, there's never a service disruption. It's always perfect. Is that right, Mike?
only till the next time?
Did you ever call them up and you're like, you're not getting where you're like, hey, can I please speak to a supervisor just to, take it to another level? And they're like, you know what? There's no supervisors here. Well, guess what? On LinkedIn, there are vice presidents, presidents, CEOs. There's a lot of people you could reach out to on LinkedIn to
Huh.
resolve your disputes. And I just did it with an airline very nicely. and got things resolved. I reached out at the highest level, the EVP of customer experience. And so I've resolved a lot of disputes for myself and others.
Wow.
Didn't
That's
know.
interesting. We never even thought of that.
Eh,
And that's without saying, hey, listen, I've got 25,000 people on my LinkedIn platform. If you don't resolve this, I'm going to let everybody know.
I don't go there. You know what? When you reach out to the higher levels, if you're nice, do
Yeah,
things in a nice fashion, and it works much better than a negative tone.
absolutely. 100%. So it's always like, and I say that too, because, when you put something on social media and somebody says something, or you send somebody an email and they don't want it and they tell you to mark them, not to send them emails anymore. I'm always go back to them and say, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, impose on you. And, you know, it just, people, I think there's a right way and a wrong way to handle things. And that's pretty interesting. I never thought of that. So um, I here, the whole cable thing, I just had a bill issue, right? And thought I had it changed. And then the next month the bill was higher than what it was previously. And then you get in the voicemail system and you're like lost in the ozone and you go,
All
oh my,
right.
what's happening? So, but that's interesting. So what else can you use LinkedIn for?
I think LinkedIn's just a great research tool. There's a lot of folks that have limitations based upon their business. I know, like in the wealth management arena, FINRA's an issue. And so it's not so much about the messaging as it is about looking at Mike's profile. And I always like to tell this story of an individual, and he doesn't even know I tell this story, but I don't give his full name. But I was introduced to a CEO in Indiana, and just super nice guy. And I looked up his profile. He had like 60 connections, a terrible profile, like nothing on there. It was really hard to decipher what is he a CEO of? What does he do? But I like doing research. So if there's second degree, who are connections that we share in common? I may reach out and go, "Oh, Mike, you know Matt in Indiana. How do you know Matt?" And you can give me a little detail. Nothing in his profile except by his university, his college years. It said crop dusting. And I
Hmm.
thought that was weird. So if you see interesting things in a profile, I intentionally put those in mine. I pulled them out. So I was talking to him, and then I threw this out and said, "Hey, Matt, let's now talk about crop dusting." He's like, "Larry, oh my God, that goes so far back. How do you even know that?" And I just said, "Look, I do my research. I come in prepared." And he said, "Well, I'll tell you, I got out of college and I was a crop duster. I was flying a plane dumping chemicals. And my boss said, Larry, or said, Matt, this is not the place for you. This business actually will kill you. Literally, it will kill you because of those chemicals. You should get out of the business." And he took that to heart, and he actually did get out of the business. And so today, what he does is he is in cannabis. He is a multimillionaire. He's done quite well. He picked the right chemicals to work with today. So he got out of the crop dusting, those chemicals, into cannabis. So much better.
Yeah, that's a heck of an
So,
industry, right?
but that's all about the research. So I like telling people use LinkedIn as a research tool. Come and prepared, not only with the potential clients, but even with people you work with. You'd be surprised what you would learn about people that are in the cubicle or office or the virtual office in your company. When you look at their profiles, you would be shocked at what some people have accomplished in their lifetime or who you know in common.
Yeah. Yeah. I've, you know, al- almost every time I'll go to somebody's profile before we meet or we get on a Zoom call or have a conversation just to find out a little bit. And you're right. There are some things about that people have done, accomplished, been through that you go, wow, unbelievable. So um, it's been helpful in that way. Hey, what types of things should you be putting out there on LinkedIn? Like, and let me give you an example, right? So you said I'm in real estate. I wanted, I want to track people who are looking to invest in real estate. Um, Outside of the real estate world, right? Anybody that's in my first level, like you talked about, that they're in my space, right? We all invest in multifamily real estate, but I want to track those people who who don't know about it, who don't invest in multifamily, but know that there might be an alternative to the stock market. And so what do I put on LinkedIn? How do I, you know, post on LinkedIn to attract those people?
Well, on the home page, you have the option towards the top of the page in the center to do a post or write an article. And so an article allows you to format it, make it look super nice and clean. And, if you want to do something a little bit quicker, a post is pretty easy. It's pretty quick. It does not have unlimited character count, but I have to tell you, you can still put quite a bit of content. And on a general post, you put too much anyway, you lose everybody, right? So one thing you could do is you could create a video, right? So you can go out, put a video message, and video definitely captures and garners a lot of viewership. And so you can create a video for those folks. And then it's all about the keywords and it's about the hashtags. And so what I would tell you is there are hashtags on LinkedIn. If you go in the search window and you type in hashtag real estate investor, and then there's followers to those hashtags. And so the hashtags that have more followers, those are good hashtags to put into your post to attract a little more viewership. But it's also what you put in there and the keywords that will attract people when they're searching for content. And then you come up and it's like, oh, so maybe it's real estate investing, but there's other ways to say it's multifamily this, or high net worth that. It's all the right words you put in there to garner that viewership, but it's also what you put in there that attracts people, how you position it.
Interesting. All right. As we start to wind down here this morning, I have a general question for you. Just looking for an opinion from a different perspective or vantage point. But what's your thoughts on the market, inflation, rising prices? Any thoughts around that, where the world's headed?
Well, I'm not an economist. We put a lot of people to work, and we work more in the back office of major corporations to private equity owned companies. And so our business, we kind of watch the trending of employment, like the shortage. And so the hiring trends sometimes align a little bit with, I don't know if you would say it's inflation necessarily, but in the stock market, but you kind of see where companies are hedging their bets. Hey, you're seeing a tremendous amount of layoffs, right? So you're looking at a lot of companies laying off all types of companies, right? It's just not technology. It's the auto manufacturing industry. Many industries are being impacted. And so some companies are saying, hey, I'm preparing for that recession by, I'm going to hire now because we know our CEO is going to mandate a hiring freeze. So I look at it from a different perspective, Mike, about employment. That impacts us because we come in on a consulting or an integrated resourcing solution to our clients that want to augment their teams or bring in that expertise that they don't have or don't want to hire in for. So it's interesting to watch the ebbs and flows of what companies are doing, with their hiring on a permanent basis or bringing in expertise from the outside.
Nice. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting over the next few months. That's for sure. But
Very.
Shift gears a little bit. A couple bonus questions before I let you go. Best book you've ever read?
Mine. Actually, no. You know what? I know it sounds crazy, but there was a book put out by Neil Rackham, Spin Selling, and
Mm.
and I wrote a book. I don't like reading books. I know, isn't that terrible? I wrote a book and I don't like reading books, but I was forced to read that book. But what I took away was remove all the objections before you kind of put your proposal and try to sell is kind of what I surmised from that. And so it kind of stuck with me. I know you're thinking Good to Great and all the others. Yes, that was mine. I'm sorry.
I read Spin Selling. That's a good book. I read that years ago. Hey, favorite Chicago restaurant?
Well, you know what? I'm a chain guy, but I like Carson's, and
Mm.
there's still Carson's out there. So I like Carson's. And there's one actually in Milwaukee too, where right down the street from our corporate headquarters for Manpower Group. So a plug for Carson's.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Larry, thanks for being here. What do you got planned for the weekend?
The weekend is R&R, getting ready to get out of the country next week. So I'm going to relax and stay away from human beings so I don't catch anything.
Where are you going?
Going to St. Martin.
Okay, nice. Vacation or business?
It's vacation. What do you got planned, Mike? Anything fun?
A little bike ride on the lakefront and some swimming pool. That's about it.
There you go. There you go.
Been a long week. So, hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to move you to the back room, say goodbye, and I'll just hang out with me for a minute. Larry, tell people how to get a hold of you.
So my website, I think it's noted here, scrolling across, kaufman-larry.com. You can check out my book on Amazon, The NCG Factor. Look me up on LinkedIn, Larry Kaufman in Chicago, all caps. Mike, thanks for having me. Thanks to your viewers for watching today as well.
Appreciate you. Talk to you in a minute.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here this morning. That was my guest, Larry Kaufman. I hope you picked up some good stuff about networking and relationships and maybe some tools how to use LinkedIn, or even try and carry that over onto whatever social media platform you might be working on. But glad that you're here. We're here every Thursday morning at 8:30 Central Time, always trying to bring a guest from Chicago. So if you know an entrepreneur, a business owner, a restaurant owner, somebody who we could feature on this show, feature their business on this platform on Thursday morning, let me know. Reach out to me. Send me a direct message. And I look forward to seeing everybody here. Remember, in August 18th, the Property Management Boot Camp coming up, full day virtual event. You can find that information on my website, My Core Intentions. Everybody have a great week. Have a great weekend. And I will look